Are you a busy university student interested in studying abroad during the summer, but you're not sure where to begin? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 different exciting summer study abroad programs that may be great for you if you want to embark on an overseas journey. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Kimber. I am a study abroad specialist. I help high school, college, and graduate students around the world realize their study abroad dreams. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm so excited to dive into this topic with you, talking about summer study abroad specifically. I know that with summer study abroad programs, it's a great way to get engaged because you're like, hey, I've always wanted to study abroad, or maybe you've studied abroad in the past, but you're like, the summertime is the only time I can do it. I totally get that for a lot of students in their schedule. This is when you can do it. And so I want to share these particular 3 programs with you today to kind of go through them and just get some ideas going. Maybe you will eventually apply for them and see where it takes you. So the first program that I'm going to be sharing with you is a study abroad and internship combined. So this is a perfect way to do it. I am someone who did that at one point in my life where I was on a specific program that was internship based, but we were also studying abroad at the same time. So this is the CEA, which stands for Cultural Experiences Abroad. They are a US-based study abroad organization. That's what they focus on, and they've been around for many, many years. And so what they do with their study plus internship opportunities, they give students an opportunity during the summer and other parts of the year as well to be able to combine both study abroad and internship. So this would be considered an immersion-based opportunity. Now, on my channel, I have talked in the past about immersion-based study abroad. And what that basically means is that you are not necessarily doing the traditional classroom-based study abroad. You may have some study abroad components like that of the classroom while you're there, but you are solely focused on being able to immerse yourself in the culture, really get involved. And the best way to do that is through an internship. And so one of the great things about the CEA program is that they have it where you can choose from a variety of different fields. So whether you're interested in advertising internships or business internships, cultural arts, STEM field, it doesn't really matter. They have something for everyone. And they have programs in different places. So they have them in Argentina, they have them in Dublin, they have them all around where different places where you would think that you would want to go. And that's going to be a great thing if you're interested in doing that immersion base. Now, on average, the programs last from 6 to 8 weeks. So you'll want to keep that in mind, but it does take up the full summer. So you just want to think about that. So if you are someone who's interested in really going to a place, you're like, hey, I've always wanted to go to Argentina to do an internship, this is your time to do it. And they really work with you to try and figure out what type of placement is going to be best for you once you get there. And they will work with you before you arrive so that either you would already have your placement before you arrive, or sometimes you would just need to go and do the sort of in-person interviews before they set you in your placement. But it is a great place to be able to do something like that, no matter where you choose to go, doing a program like this, because again, it's not going to be that standard traditional study abroad where you're in the classroom. You're going to get to learn so much, and it is amazing to have on your resume that you did a foreign international internship. So definitely consider that. Some of the things to know about the CEA program that may be of interest to you is that for the housing specifically, you can either stay in their housing or you can find one on your own. Now, that's a bit of a change from a lot of different programs, because there are lots of programs that are like them, that in that nonprofit sphere, that make you stay on campus with them. But I like the fact that CEA has said, hey, we're fine if you want to find your own housing. Now, just putting in the caveat, I can tell you as a study abroad advisor and as someone who has studied abroad for many, many, many years, that finding your own housing as a student can be very, very difficult, particularly if you want to live alone, and particularly if you are going to a place you've never been, because you're up against a wall in the sense of you don't really have the type of connections there. And so you're trying to do everything blindly. And so it may just mean that you have to stay in maybe different housing when you first get there, and then you get set up in your housing for 8 weeks. But luckily, in a lot of places where they have the study and internship, there's student purposed housing, which means that it is housing based for students, and they have a lot of summer plans specifically for students who want to come for the summer. So just to let you know that you can either decide to stay in their housing or you can choose your own house. So in terms of the pricing for this particular program, it ranges from starting at the lower end from around 6,800 US dollars and can go all the way up to nearly 10,000 US dollars. Now, you just want to keep in mind that, of course, that depends on the particular location that you choose. If you choose a place that is very, touristy and very popular with a lot of students, that it's going to be more expensive. But one of the things that's great is that it's not just about the fact that you will be paying to have the opportunity to stay there and live there and do the internship program, but they also take you on excursions. And there's a lot, again, of immersion opportunities. And of course, that cost also covers the people that are going to be teaching you when you take your supplemental classes. So just keep that in mind as well. And in addition to that particular factor, one of the great things is that for a lot of students who do the summer program, they decide, hey, I want to actually go back and do another program. And this is one of the things that CEA has talked about in the past, that a lot of students will start out with the summer. So that's kind of the gateway drug in a lot of ways for them. And then they're like, hey, I want to go back and do either another summer study abroad program in the future, or they want to do full longer term programs in the fall or the spring. So definitely consider that. I just want to point out that everything that I mentioned in here is not sponsored, by the way, so not by CEA or any of the other organizations I'm going to talk about, but I definitely want to get this information to you so that you can learn more about it and apply. So check into the description box if you're interested in this particular program to learn more about it and potentially apply for that for your summer study abroad opportunity. So the next organization that I'm going to talk about is one that I do have personal experience with, but as I said, this is not sponsored at all, but I can tell you from personal experience, I did 2 programs with them when I was in college in London and then one in Florence. They are top notch. They are outstanding in what they do, and they are one of the oldest organizations to do it. That is AIFS, the American Institute for Foreign Study. I'm going to be talking about their study and travel program. So a little bit similar sounding to the study and internship, but this is what we call a multi-destination program for study abroad. Multi-destinations are great if you are someone who you're looking for variety while you study abroad, and summertime is going to be a great time to have that. It's a lot different than when you're sort of in the thick of, let's say, a fall program, and a lot of times you have so much going on. Maybe you travel on the weekends by yourself or with friends, but it's a lot different than that. So summertime is a great time to do that. So it's going to give you a chance to have short but immersive programs. And so there's that word again, immersive learning. And so with this, it's very multi-destinational and it's very based on different topic areas. So for example, they have one that is called their EU, so European Union, Arts and Culture program. And so with this one, you're going to get to go to several different places, which all are fantastic. I have one that is my favorite place, of course. Starting out with London, can't forget that. But you're going to get to go to London. You're going to get to be studying in Amsterdam for a little bit, Paris, Lausanne, and then Venice. I mean, how can you get any better with that? And that is perfect, right? Because if you think about arts and culture, those 5 places basically sum it up within Europe in terms of arts and culture. They also have one if you're interested, let's say, in fashion marketing. You think about fashion in Europe, totally. You're going to be in Paris, you're going to be in Milan, you're going to be in Florence, you're going to be in London. Definitely fashion capitals of Europe. If you're someone who's interested in the sciences, they have one that's called the Science of Wellbeing. So you're going to be in Stockholm, Copenhagen, London. Again, thinking about science, that's much more related to the environment and things like climate change, all of that stuff. And we know that those particular locations are kind of spearheading a lot of that, particularly in Europe. So there are so many programs that AIFS offers for summer study abroad, and that, it's a great way to be able to immerse yourself and be able to do it and still feel like you are getting the study abroad experience. But being able to go around to multiple places is also a dream as well, that a lot of students just don't really get when they are doing a traditional program. So to talk a little bit about what's included with this. So this is all inclusive. I can tell you from my experience as well with AIFS, they are really good about doing the all inclusive program. So with your program, you're going to get your housing, which is great. They also are really great about helping you with your visa. So I remember when I was doing both of my programs, I didn't really have to do anything with my visa, which was completely different from when I went and did my graduate degrees, when I had to do everything for the visa. Now that I'm someone who I advise students, I help students with their visas. If you are interested in getting some advising with your visa, click on the link below next to where it says advisor, and I can definitely help you with that. I basically help students kind of go over their applications for their visa, make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, all of that great stuff, so that when you submit it, it goes through. But with this particular opportunity with AIFS, they help you do that. So they have had longstanding connections with the consulates, with the embassies, and they help that process go through a lot easier. I can promise you that it's great when a program can help you with that. You just have to turn over your passport and then you're good to go. And they make sure that you get everything that you need. So that's what it is included in the price as well. They also make sure that you have all the meals that you need. So you have a comprehensive meal plan, and that all the supplies you're going to need for your studies while you're there are going to be taken care of. So that's what's included. So the price ranges, again, depending on where you're going, how long you're going to be there, what program you're doing, but it ranges from 5,100 US dollars up to around 10,000 US dollars. So again, really depends on the program that you're choosing, but it is a great opportunity for students that are able to do it. I always recommend maybe you can do multi-destinations multiple times. So maybe you do one program that's going to be for 4 weeks, and then you turn right back around and do another one, and you're going to different places. That is so amazing. It's so exciting. You just think about being able to spend your summer doing that, how exciting it's going to be to not just be able to tell that story, but this is something that can lead on to something else. So maybe you do this multi-destination program, and then you're like, hey, I want to go back there for grad school, like I chose to do, or you want to go back in a future just after you graduate. So just think about that. It's going to be an opportunity of a lifetime, and I would highly recommend doing this opportunity if you can for your summer study abroad journey. So we're going to head to the third program now, and we are talking about Berlin, Germany. So this particular program, I wanted to point out, this is run by CIEE. I know I always say in my videos, particularly for international students watching, you're like, Americans have so many acronyms. We love our acronyms. So many of our organizations, half our government is in acronyms. So with CIEE, they are the Council for International Education Exchange. So try saying that 3 times in a row. But with them, they are very similar to AIFS and CEA in the sense that they've been around for a long time, and they run these programs for students. And one of the things that they do in the summertime, which I think is quite interesting, is they have several different ones, but I wanted to point out this one. This is Summer Session in Berlin. And so this is focused purely on EU politics. So I think that is something that is very interesting. I know that even if you're someone who's not super political, getting a chance to sort of study the politics of the EU can be quite interesting, just thinking about what is going on in our world today and kind of learning more about that. One of the other things that's great as well is that you get to tap into some of the language too. So I know that I can speak from just experience of advising so many students that unlike a lot of other countries, when you go to Germany, it is going to be important to sort of really dive into the German language. Now, this particular opportunity is going to be taught in English, so lucky for you on that, but you definitely want to be culturally aware in that way, and they make sure that you are. So you definitely do take some German language courses. A lot of courses that you would take as a study abroad student outside of this program would be German based. They would be in German. So a lot of students, before they go to Germany, they really try to dive into the language, because even though people speak English there, a lot of it is much more German based compared to some other places where you go where they're just like, hey, we get it, we're speaking English. A lot of the education system is based in the in the home language. So just keep that in mind. Now, one of the other interesting things, which is very heartfelt on this, that I think is very, just very interesting to kind of absorb while you're there. I mean, you're already there absorbing the EU politics and learning about that, and you're in Germany, is that there is a focus on Holocaust studies as well. So I think that that is very important. It's something that a lot of us outside of Germany, we kind of learn about it from a more abstract view. Like even if we learn about it in high school or in college, we learn about it, but unless you're kind of deep into that part of history, you're not necessarily learning about it. And just imagine to be in Germany where everything took place and being able to actually see that and live that history up close. That's one of the things that I think is so powerful about doing a program like this in Berlin, whether you are interested in politics per se or not, that you actually get to dive deep into that. So to talk more about that particular programs from CIEE, what they charge is they charge you around 4,300 US dollars, and this includes your fee to actually be able to get entrance into the program. And then also too, some of the other things that they include for the housing and then the insurance. And as I always like to say, if you have your housing covered when you study abroad, you are golden, because housing and the actual tuition for the program are two of the most major expenses that you can focus on. You can have wiggle room in other things, but if you don't have your housing taken care of, that within itself is just a stressor, because you're like, where am I going to live once I get there? So that's great that they cover that. The other thing as well that you need to keep in mind is that they cover insurance. Now, a lot of students will ask about this. Why do I need insurance? Doesn't Germany have free healthcare? Now, we talk about this, that when you're going to these places where they have the free healthcare, yeah, they do have free healthcare. And yes, a lot of times you are eligible for it as a foreign student. But one of the things that you also want to have is the ability to have that traveler's insurance and the ability to have insurance that's going to be taken care of as a foreign student. And a lot of times when you first arrive, you may not have access to the particular platforms for the free healthcare. So you just want to keep that in mind. The other thing as well, this is a bit of a personal preference, but I can tell you this is something that I did, and that was really stressed to me, is that if you are someone who can't afford to have the private insurance, you definitely should do that. It could be considered a moral issue. It could be considered just a personal issue. But again, the free insurance, the free healthcare is for people who are from that country. So again, if you can be one less person that's on that and make sure that you are not taking up resources from someone who actually has paid into that system and actually has earned that, that's going to be great. But that's going to be your choice. And luckily with this particular program, they help you provide that. So you're going to be covered with your insurance. So some of the things that are not included in the price of this program are going to be your meals. So that's going to be important to think about. It doesn't have a comprehensive meal plan option like you would find in the AIFS one. Also, as well, your transportation. So to get to and from Berlin, that is not included in the price. And also your living expenses. You definitely want to think through your living expenses of how you're going to support yourself during the summer. And one of the things that you can do is create a realistic, comprehensive budget. And so I want you to watch this video to learn how to do that, so that you can make sure that all of your money is in order so you can have a fantastic summer study abroad journey. I'll see you over there.